Hey everyone, this is JD and welcome back to the Figgy Pop Culture channel. Today's video is going to be our last video on CinemaCon. Throughout the series of these videos, we've been covering all the different panels from the major studios at CinemaCon, and today we're going to be covering the last two panels, Paramount and Disney, that were on Thursday night. We don't have much time to waste, so let's go ahead and jump into the Paramount panel. The Paramount panel was a panel that I was curious to see what they were going to be talking about because they don't have a big slate for 2026. And now with the merger with Warner Brothers, which a lot of us are very not fond of, we were kind of curious of what they're going to be talking about. Which is very strange because they did promise a 40 to 5 day window, and they're promising that after the merger, they do plan on making 30 films. That seems suspicious. I don't know if they'll be able to do that, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's just go ahead and talk about what they did disclose at the panel. First up, they did talk about a couple of films that were in the early stages of pre-production. They have a new Star Trek film, a new Transformers film, and a new G.I. Joe film. So those are in the early stages. And they did talk about it that they are in development for a new Top Gun Maverick film. So that would be very interesting because I did like Top Gun Maverick. They did talk about that there is a new World War Z film that's in pre-production. So that's pretty cool. I did like the first one, and I am kind of curious of where they could go. I do wish they do a TV series and not a movie, because if you ever read the books, yeah, those are fascinating, and there's a lot of stories to be told. After this, they did have Seth Rogen and the producers for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem Part 2 on a video, and they talked about how they're in pre-production on this film, and they're really working on this. And they did say that the two villains in this movie are going to be Shredder and Krang, and that's pretty exciting because the last time we saw Krang on the big screen was this monstrosity. Next up, they did do a little teaser for Sonic 4. They did announce that Kristen Bell was going to be playing Amy Rose, and they also had a little clip of Jim Carrey in prison as Dr. Robotnik, and that he's coming back for part 4. So, if you're a big fan of the Sonic franchise, this is great news. If you're a fan of Jim Carrey, also great news. Next up, we did have John Krasinski come on the screen and talk about the next Quiet Place movie that they're in early pre-production on, and I'm pretty excited about this one because I liked all the past 3 Quiet Place movies, and I want to kind of see where they go next with the series. Next up, they did talk about that they are making a Call of Duty movie that is being directed by Peter Berg and written by Taylor Sheridan. And if you're familiar with that name, he's the guy who's been writing all the Yellowstone and the spin-off series. He's like the head honcho for those series. So this may be a movie you're going to want to check out when it does come out. Even though I'm like kind of confused on why you would do a Call of Duty movie, because Call of Duty is just a war movie with not really any central storyline in it. But I know what, if Taylor Sheridan's involved, you know they're going to figure out a plot. And it might just be a really cool war movie to see. Next up on stage, they brought out James Cameron and Billie Eilish. So they came out on stage talking about her new movie, Hit Me Hard and Soft. And this is a new concert movie that's being filmed in 3D. And it's kind of cool that James Cameron is involved in this. They did show off some footage of the concert to the audience, and they had 3D glasses that they provided them. So yeah, this might be pretty interesting. If you like concert films and you're fans of Billie Eilish, this may be one for you to check out. Next up, they have the cast of Scary Movie on stage to talk about Scary Movie 6. And they promised, since the Wayans brothers are back in the hot seat for this series, and they pretty much said that nobody is safe in this franchise. They did show a clip of this, and the first clip they showed was the opening sequence, which is a parody of the Get Out scene starring Marlon Wayans' Shorty. Yeah, we got some more scenes featuring the return of Cindy and Brenda being reunited. We kind of saw a little bit of this in the trailer. And then they got more of an extended clip of the weapons parody scene, which also has a 6'7" joke in it. Oy. That's going to get old really fast. And then there's also another scene from Smile, which stars the character who plays Cindy's boyfriend in the first Scream movie. And they showed a bunch of other additional clips that we've seen in the trailers, like the spoof of Sinners and stuff like that. It does seem like this movie's going to have a lot in it. And yeah, I'm actually very interested in seeing this one. Next up, they had Johnny Knoxville come out and talk about Jackass Best and Last. Yes, we're getting a new Jackass film this year. And that is crazy to say because these men are old. But yeah, they pretty much all the same old stunts you've seen. And there is a robot giving an exam to Steve-O in this movie. And it's a very uncomfortable exam, to say none the least. So yeah, that was some of the footage they gave at CinemaCon. They did show more footage for some of their animated movies coming out, like Paw Patrol, the Dino movie. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say on that. If you're a fan of Paw Patrol and you're looking forward to this, the trailer is out online, so I just recommend you go check this one out. Next up, they did talk about Angry Birds 3, and I cannot believe we're getting an Angry Birds 3 movie. That just sounds crazy to me. But yep, here we are. We're getting an Angry Birds 3 movie, and this movie follows the lives of the children of Red. Yes, Red actually had children. And now we're following the lives of those birds and some of the other characters we met in the previous Angry Birds movie. Can I ask you, are we really looking forward to an Angry Birds movie? Were you looking forward to one? I This is a franchise I thought was dead years ago. Next up, they had Street Fighter. So they brought up the cast of Street Fighter, and this cast looks like they're just having a great time promoting this movie. And they released the newest trailer that is now online and the newest poster for Street Fighter. And you know what, though? This is the first full trailer that we got a few months ago. So this trailer actually shows you more of what the storyline is involved, more of the characters, more of the fight scenes. Yeah, this like is just gonna be a bunch of fun and just pure campy craziness, over the top. You know what? Just the nostalgic feels I get from watching this movie and seeing a lot of the Easter eggs. This might be a movie I'm kind of interested in seeing when it comes out. What do you guys think? Have you seen the new trailer yet? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right, next up we have Mr. Irrelevant. So this is starring David Cornsweet as John Tuggle, the final pick for the 1993 NFL Draft by the New York Giants. This one, actually, they showed a little bit of footage and trailers from this one. This one actually sounds pretty good. And it sounds like kind of a fun sports biopic. It just doesn't look like David Cornsweet. I thought it was a different actor because I was like, look at the photo of him and I was like, wait, who is that? He actually looks like Sean William Scott from American Pie. Yep, Stifler himself. That's who he looks like in this picture. That's just funny to think about. If you guys are fans of sport biopics, this is going to be a movie for you. Next up, they talked about David Ayer's new movie, The Heart of the Beast. Now, this one is starring Brad Pitt, and yeah, this one looks pretty good too. Some of the footage they showed. So what this movie is just a survival thriller about a former soldier and his dog who have been retired, who are flying their plane and crash land in the Alaskan wilderness and have to survive out there. I love survival thrillers, and so this is actually one I am looking forward to seeing. But yeah, that is Heart of the Beast. Next up, they had Johnny Depp on stage, and he came to introduce Ebenezer from Ty West. This is the newest adaptation of the Christmas Carol storyline, starring Johnny Depp as Scrooge. I don't know what to say about it. This is going to be a weird movie to think about, but it is directed by Ty West, who, you know, is a hit and miss horror director. So it's kind of interesting that he's directing this one. I could probably tell you that this is going to have some horror elements in it. But yeah, so we're getting another Christmas Carol adaptation, which is kind of a bummer. But you know what? We're getting Johnny Depp for the first time since his whole legal battle back on the big screen, starring as Ebenezer Scrooge. They did show some clips from the movie. We got to see scenes of Jacob Marley, played by Ian McKellen, which is also a great actor. We got to see some also clips of the Ghost of Christmas Past, the Ghost of Christmas Present, and the Ghost of Christmas Future, which have a lot of horror elements in it. But yeah, this one looks like it may be a fun, kind of different vibe for the Christmas Carol storyline that we've seen in the past. For the final film in their presentation, they talked about the newest film adaptation of the hit series Children of Blood and Bone. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this because it's kind of hard for me to say, but we got Prince Bythewood's newest adaptation of Tommy Adeyemi's best-selling novel, which is a huge, full-scale Afrofuturistic movie. This is based off the book series of the same name. And, you know, reading some of the descriptions I read online of what the book series is about and how it takes part of a lot of African culture and history and stuff like that, this does seem like a really cool book series to read. And yeah, and this is going to be the first film in the series. It was originally picked up by Lucasfilm to be developed by Disney, but the rights fell through after they could not develop this series whatsoever. And now Paramount bought the rights in 2022, and here we go. A few years later, we got this new movie in production that's coming out really soon. So if you are a big fan of this book series, you're going to want to check this out. They did show a trailer for this film, which hasn't been released yet, but it shows a lot of the whimsical, some of the magic, and some of the actual looks they're giving this movie. And this could be a contender for a great franchise beginning. So that is the Paramount panel. What did you guys think? Were there any films on here that you're interested in seeing? Any films that you wish I would have talked about? You wish we got more information on? Let me know in the comments down below. And without further ado, let's jump into our final panel of CinemaCon and let's discuss the Disney panel. All right, guys, here we are at the very final panel of CinemaCon. We're going to be talking about Disney and what they provided. Again, they didn't bring out a lot this year, so not much new announcements. They talked about pretty much everything that's coming out in 2026 and the first part of 2027. So let's just jump on into what the movies they covered. So at the beginning of the clip, they did show some of the films that are coming out. They did show the different studios that make up Disney, which is crazy to think about how many studios make up Disney pictures. They also showed a little slide of all the upcoming movies that are coming out in 2026 and the beginning of 2027. And that's pretty much what this panel covered. So first up on their list was Devil Wears Prada 2. Now this one, if you're a fan of Devil Wears Prada, this is going to be a movie for you. This is not part of my wheelhouse. I didn't really ever see the first one. I think my wife saw the first one. She really liked it. So this will probably be a movie we do see. But yeah, Devil Wears Prada 2 comes out in a few weeks. They did show like some extended clips from the movie that showed you more of the humor, more about the characters that are making up this universe. And it's very much the same tone, same style as the original one. If you're a big fan of Devil Wears Prada, you're really going to love this movie. Next up for Disney, they talked about The Mandalorian and Grogu. Jon Favreau came up on stage and talked a little bit about Star Wars and how much he is enjoying making this movie and how he has been working really hard to make this like a great Star Wars movie, and how it's a lot easier this time around to do a lot of stuff they couldn't do when they were making the TV show. So yeah, he's really excited about this new movie, and he kind of gave more of a summary of what the movie's about. So the movie's going to follow Din Djarin, who's now working for the New Republic, and how he's now like kind of like their hitman or their like police force is going out there and capturing ex-Imperial soldiers and leaders that have been gone in hiding, and he's out there capturing them all up. He's also going to be working with Zeb from Star Wars Rebels in this movie too, so we're going to see a lot of him in this. And then basically from there, we're leading into the main storyline, which is, so he has to go find this new ex-Imperial leader that's been shrouded in mystery and hidden from everybody else. So that is his main mission. They did show off the new trailer from the movie, which you can see online right now. So which trailer did make me a little bit more excited about this movie. So I'm a little bit more interested in seeing this movie now that I've seen the trailer. They did show the first like 15 to 18 minutes of the movie here at CinemaCon also, and that scene sold a lot of people in the movie because it deals with Din Djarin actually getting his new mission, and then he ends up going to a ice base where a bunch of ex-Imperial soldiers are hiding at, and basically you get to watch him take those out. You see the scene with the AT-AT, and he's fighting off the AT-AT with Grogu. So that whole sequence we got to watch a lot more of. And you know what? From the descriptions from like New Rock Stars and from discussing films that I read online, and a great way to start this whole movie and kind of separate a little bit from what the TV show is. Because I know like many of you are kind of concerned that's what it's going to be like. So that was The Mandalorian and Grogu, directed by Jon Favreau. I'm really excited for this one. Are you guys excited for this one? Let me know in the comment section down below. Next up, they brought out Tom Hanks and Tim Allen for Toy Story 5. Now here's a movie I never really thought we would get. You know, Toy Story 3 ended on a great note. Toy Story 4 ended on also a great note. And now we're getting Toy Story 5, and it's like, where is this series going to end? But you know what? I am excited about this. I am excited by some of the footage they showed. This movie is essentially the story of technology and how it is like making kids not want to play with toys anymore. And it's a whole battle between toys and technology. And that's what this movie is actually dealing with. So like one of the clips they showed essentially was Bonnie getting her lily pad, and that's that little iPad thing that she has. And we find out from there that she's down there watching it, and we get to like kind of see her like go blank stare and like staring at her screen, essentially becoming a zombie to her iPad, or lily pad, to her lily pad. Okay, so now we get that scene. We get Jessie, who's now the leader of the toys, coming up to Lilypad, and we find out that, you know, Lilypad has all these like chat rooms for people to hang out, and that's how Bonnie is making friends with everybody, is through technology. She's not making friends the old-fashioned way, like meeting people at parks or playgrounds or playing with toys. They're all becoming friends via chat rooms on the Lilypad. All right, the next scene they did show was the reintroduction of Woody into the franchise with a little bald spot, and they also said that Woody has like a little beer belly, which I think is kind of funny. It's probably like the stuffing, you know, like he's been played a lot with now, so it's like, no, his hair is balding because the paint's coming off, and probably the beer belly is probably stuffing being restuffed into him, giving him a little stomach, you know. So yeah, that's kind of funny to see. So we got that in reintroduction. And then we get to see the reintroduction of Buzz and Woody again, and we find out there is a power struggle between Buzz and Woody, because Buzz believes he's second command to Jessie, and he's kind of upset that Woody came back to save the day. So there's like a little power struggle between these two toys again. It's just gonna be kind of funny, kind of the same humor that we see in the trailer already. We do find out Little Bo Peep is in this movie for a little while, but then her and her toys actually take off because it's a girls' night out kind of a thing. So I guess they're not gonna really be in the movie. The abandoned toys that we saw, that Little Bo Peep was taking control of. Oh well, you win some, you lose some, I guess you could say. But yeah, so yeah, what do you guys think? Are you guys excited to see Toy Story 5? I know I am. I love the Toy Story franchise. I've been watching the Toy Story franchise since '95, and you know what? This series holds a special place in my heart, and I am looking forward to seeing Toy Story 5. I just can't believe it's been 30 some years since the first one came out. Next up, they have The Rock come out with his co-star, Catherine Lagai. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Who is his co-star in Moana. Here at the panel, The Rock talked about his family, his history with Maui, how his granddad actually inspired the look of Maui, and how he's so excited to be playing this in the live action version of this movie, and how much Moana means to him. And we got a couple of clips from this movie. Yeah, we get the recreation of the I Am Moana song in the movie, done in live action. So we get to see that whole scene play out. We get to see a little bit of The Rock singing You're Welcome and having the animated tattoos on his body. And we also get another clip of Maui turning into a whale and scaring Hey Hey. We get another scene where Moana is thanking Maui and he goes, You're welcome. So we're getting a lot of those scenes in this movie. A lot of the scenes we see in the trailer. And some more, a little bit more footage they provided here at CinemaCon. But yeah, what do you guys think? I am not looking forward to Moana. I did like the original animated movie, but I don't know if I'm excited to see a live action version of it. And I still can't get out how weird and crazy that The Rock looks as Maui. So let me know in the question below. Are you excited for Moana? Next up was a movie I have never even heard of, even though the trailer is already out, and that is The Dog Stars. This one actually intrigued me a lot. The Dog Stars is actually a film based off a book of the same name and is being directed by Ridley Scott. So in this movie, we take place in a world that's been ravaged by a flu pandemic that has basically taken out the world. So this is your post-apocalyptic thriller. And so the film focuses on Hig, a former civilian pilot, and Bangley, who is a hardened ex-Marine, as they confront this new post-apocalyptic world. And basically, from what I got from the description of the book, basically they get a transmission, and then basically Hig has to go out and discover where that transmission is from, and you get to see more of this apocalyptic world. The trailer looks really good. It looks very gritty. I'm actually looking forward to this one now. Like I said, I never even heard of this movie, so now this has actually jumped up my list for probably more than I must spend movies for 2026. Next up, they brought out Wild Horse 9. It's another movie from Fox Searchlight. So this movie is actually about two CIA agents who are sent to the Eastern Islands after completing a mission in Santiago, Chile. And these two long-term soldiers are like on a relaxing break from their last mission, and we get to see how these two friends and partners have to deal with their past coming up with conspiracies or with some kind of situation that they have to get involved with here in the island. It's starring John Malkovich and Sam Rockwell as the two CIA agents. Yeah, they showed the new trailer. Trailer looks fun. It looks interesting. It's not my cup of tea per se, but you know what though? I do like some of these little political thrillers or kind of like those type of films. So I may check it out once it comes out in theaters. So what do you guys think? Have you guys seen the trailer yet for Wild Horse 9? Let me know in the comment section down below. Next up was another movie called Whalefall, based on the book by Daniel Kraus. So here's a movie I never heard of either. And you know what though? This one sounds very interesting and it sounds super intense. The story is about a young kid who is actually looking for his father's remains out on the California coast when he gets swallowed by a sperm whale. Yep, that's pretty much it. It is like the story of Jonah and the whale. Basically, this kid gets swallowed by this whale, and he has to figure his way out of there, and all the dangers and everything else that involved with him being in the belly of this whale. I I don't know about this movie. They said the trailer clips were intense and crazy. It looked disturbing, so this may be a movie I want to check out. The book sounds very interesting too, so I might check out the book too, just see what it's like. So that's Whalefall coming out this year from Disney. All right, we got some more updates from a couple more Disney animation movies. First up was the movie Hexed. Now this one actually looks like a fun Disney movie. So the movie follows a girl named Billie Doe, voiced by Haley Steinfeld, who finds out she is a witch and she comes from a long line of witches. And there are some Easter eggs in these clips, they said, of different witches and warlocks and wizards all throughout Disney's history. So because kind of ties into the history of Disney, kind of like what they did with Wish, and that didn't turn out too well. So like they're taking a second stab at that storyline. They did show some clips. We got here is we get to see a scene in which Billie falls down a dark and mysterious layer full of twisted tree vines to discover a magical talking book and pen. And then the book and the pen give her a bunch of questions to prove that she is a witch. And some of the questions are kind of like silly and humorous, like, you know, have you been persecuted for being a witch? Have you been burned at the stake? Stuff like that. After that, she is transported to the world of Hexed, which is kind of more of a Renaissance era world that she's transported to. And we find out that Rashida Jones is going to be playing the mother of Billie Doe. So, yeah, this is like going to be like a fun animated movie. Not sure how it's going to do in theaters, but you know, Disney animation without Pixar hasn't had a pretty big winning streak in the past few years. So that is Hexed. Next up, Ray Romano, Queen Latifah, and Dennis Leary came on stage to talk about Ice Age: Boiling Point. Now here's a franchise I thought was dead. Here's also a franchise I didn't realize this is the 6th movie in the franchise. Did you know there's 5 other Ice Age movies? I think I knew of 2, maybe 3. I didn't even know if 4 and 5 existed. So yeah, this is going to be interesting to see. They did bring out some clips here, and unfortunately the clip is pretty much a short at the beginning of every single Ice Age movie. And that is with Scrat the squirrel. Yeah, so this scene opens up with Scrat and Baby Scrat getting their acorn. And Baby Scrat actually wants his dad's acorn. But wait, no, Scrat loves his acorn. So Scrat says no and gives him a little baby acorn. And Scrat goes and buries the acorn. Some lava emerges and creates like a hole in the ground. And Scrat and Baby Scrat get sent to the Lost World, which is kind of weird because I think that was one of the other versions of the story where there was like a land of dinosaurs and stuff like that. Yes, there were dinosaurs. There were even aliens in this franchise, if people could believe that. And then pretty much we get to see the characters from Ice Age show up, and then they're seeing this new lost world and their new home that they could probably inhabit. So yeah, that's kind of what the story's going to feel like, I guess. It's going to be like these characters are now trying to find a new land to live in because their land is going away. And I could have sworn this is the plot for the last 3 or 4 Ice Age movies. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know about you. Are you looking forward to seeing an Ice Age movie? I know I'm not really, but let me know in the comments down below. All right, now we're here to the final movie and the one you've probably been waiting for. You've been watching this video, waiting for me to get to it. I know you're excited to hear me talk about it, and that is Avengers Doomsday. So the panel opens up with Kevin Feige talking about the history of the Marvel movies and how much money the Marvel movies have made over the years. And then he brings up the Russo brothers, and they talk a little bit about how this movie is a sequel to Endgame. So you don't really have to watch too much of what's come before. And then we get Chris Evans on stage, talk about the movie and the franchise. And then coming onto stage with the music Sympathy for the Devil, Robert Downey Jr. comes on stage wearing some of this really cool looking green suit. And he walks up on stage and he's here talking about the movie and the franchise and stuff like that. And then they introduced us to the first full trailer of Avengers Doomsday, which has not been released online, which really sucks. And you're probably curious of why there's no footage of the trailer out there. From what I actually got from New Rockstars when they posted about this, there's actually like men that are wearing like night vision goggles who have these green laser pointers who are actually like zapping people, well, zapping their phones and stuff like that, who are trying to record. It's either like they're zapping and scrambling their phone, or they're zapping the person to like bring attention that they have a camera on the recording, and then security comes in and escorts them out of there and makes them delete the footage. That's how they weren't able to have any of this footage leaked online early. So I guess without further ado, they did show this trailer twice, and I've gathered up a bunch of little different people's descriptions of what the footage showed from New Rockstar Discussing Films, from John Campia and those guys. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a summary because you've probably already heard a lot of the breakdowns that have happened for Avengers Doomsday, and I'll tell you my thoughts in after the good little brief description. So the trailer opens up on Xavier Mansion. We have for the first time Doctor Doom talking, and Robert Downey Jr. is actually doing like this accent, this Latvian accent. So it doesn't sound like Robert Downey Jr. And he says, "Something's coming, something we may not be able to deter. Before this day is done, we shall be faced with an unthinkable decision." Oh my goodness. This seems like we're following the Hickman storyline that led up to Secret Wars. You know, we're going to see the incursions happen. And just like John Krasinski said in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, yeah, this is what an incursion is going to happen. We're going to be seeing worlds collide and with an incursion happening. And it says it's going to be like 3 worlds colliding. The Fantastic Four world, our Marvel world, and the world of the X-Men. So that's pretty exciting. We get to see our first full glimpse of Doctor Doom doing a superhero landing in front of the X Mansion. So then we get a cut to a clip of the new Avengers Tower, which looks quite different from what it did before. And it has the new logo for the Avengers on it. And in this place, we have Thor walking in with the Fantastic Four. And of course, we have squabbling between the new Avengers, led by Yelena and Bucky, versus Sam Wilson's Avengers here too. And then we learn a little bit more about the incursions that are happening like that. And then Thor, who seems very pissed off in this scene, talks about, I fought with many warriors in my time. They were far stronger than all of us put together, and they died. They died facing enemies and threats that scare me far less than this one. Put aside your petty squabbles. Presume nothing except this. If you return, you will return as brothers and sisters. But mark my words, we are going to need a miracle. Whew. Sounds powerful right there. That sounds really good. Chris Hemsworth going to bring in this movie. All right, we do see Namor on his throne, and there's no more water around him. And we do find out the scene from the 4th trailer that was released back in December, that where we see the desert landscape with Shuri, Baku, and the Thing. Yeah, that's actually Namor's land, and he's actually raised the water all around his land as a kind of like a shield. So they're on dry land. We do get to see Thor land with Stormbreaker in front of the X Mansion. Then we get a bunch of cool fight scenes. We're seeing Gambit fight Shang-Chi. We get to see Yelena fighting Mystique, and then Mystique transforming into Yelena. So we got a really cool fight scene there. We do see more of the clip of Xavier and Magneto in the X Mansion that we do see in one of the trailers. We get to see Scott Lang kissing somebody goodbye, somebody with blonde hair, which we believe might be Catherine Newton, who plays Casey Lang, or aka Stature. And we get to see Sam landing into the X Mansion and then being caught off guard by Gambit. So we're seeing a lot more Gambit footage in this trailer, which is pretty cool. Because, you know what? We get to see a lot of cool fighting scenes from Channing Tatum as Gambit. And then we get to see Thor attacking Doom. And then Doom, you know, it's kind of like the scene from Infinity War where he's like, with Stormbreaker, he's going after Thanos. But this time, Doom just stops Stormbreaker with 2 fingers. That's pretty cool. That's pretty epic. And then, of course, the trailer ends with Thor. We're down with Mjolnir. Mjolnir. Now we see Thor with Mjolnir, and then we see somebody come out of the shadows, and he goes, can't be. And then the person calls Mjolnir to him, and it turns out to be a long-haired version of Steve Rogers, which we have seen in some of the leaked photos online and from the Funko Pop. That's going to be the Steve Rogers we meet here, which is a very different Steve Rogers than when we meet in that first teaser we saw with Doomsday. So yeah, this is going to be a crazy movie. It's going to be epic. This is going to be the movie to see in December. Do I think it's going to be better than Dune? Probably not, but it's going to make all the money in December. So what do you guys think? Are you super excited to see Avengers Doomsday? I know I am. This is probably the biggest movie I'm looking forward to seeing all year. I am super stoked. I cannot wait for this trailer to drop online. I am waiting day and night for that trailer. I hope it's going to drop next week. But until then, well, we get all these different reactions from all the people that are there at CinemaCon to see this footage. All right, guys. So that is my CinemaCon 2026 recap. What do you guys think? Were you guys surprised by any of the movies I discussed here on the Disney panel? Were you kind of shocked we didn't cover any other movies? I'm kind of shocked too. We didn't talk about Gato from Pixar at all. Like I said, this is covering pretty much all the big movies that are coming out just this year and a little bit for the beginning of next year. So there are a lot more to come. I believe at San Diego Comic-Con and at D23, we're going to learn about a lot more crazy projects that they have in production. So hold your horses there. Wait till those conventions because we're going to learn a lot more. And I believe even Star Wars Celebration is coming up too. So we're going to find out probably a lot more about that. So yeah, I am super stoked. I really did enjoy doing the CinemaCon look back with all you guys and kind of looking back at all the panels from CinemaCon. What did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy me doing the review of this? If so, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys missed any of my other coverage of CinemaCon, I will have a playlist in the bottom below, so you can go check that out. And again, until next time, guys, remember to hit the like, subscribe, the notification bell, and remember, this is JD with the Figgy Pop Culture Channel.